So, Arth, where are you joining us from? Where are you today?
Sir, I'm joining from Gwalior.
Gwalior?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Give us a snapshot of your background, of your education, of your family, of your mission. What do you want to achieve out of life? So tell us everything about yourself in 3 to 4 minutes.
Sir, my name is Arth Jain. I was born in Jabalpur. Since 2004, I was in Delhi, from where I did my schooling through Sanskriti School. Post that, I did my BTech in Mechanical Engineering from IIT Delhi. My hobbies include playing chess and engaging in debating. My parents, my father is a civil servant and IPS officer. My mother is an investment banker. At present, the goal of my life is to become a civil servant, sir. In the long term, I think I would want to be known as a good civil servant.
Excellent. Where's your father posted as?
Sir, he's the transport commissioner of Madhya Pradesh right now.
And what does your mother do at the moment? She is an investment banker, you said.
So she has her own company, an investment bank, sir.
And she's based in Delhi?
So she's right now, ever since the pandemic, she's with us only in Gwalior.
In Gwalior. I saw the address in Delhi. Okay. And what is it that you wish to achieve out of life?
Sir, I think in the long run, I would want a happy life and a meaningful career. I would want the same for people around me. I would wish to be known as an officer who can do good and who has a good reputation.
Okay. I notice you studied in Sanskriti school. You were also the captain there. Tell us a little bit more about your schooling in Sanskriti. How did you find Sanskriti school? What are the features of the Sanskriti school which impressed you, and where you feel it could do better?
Sir, Sanskriti school was created for children of civil servants originally. I joined somewhere around 2005. My overall experience, I would say, was very exciting as well as a learning opportunity. I feel that school does good on most counts, for example, academics, extracurricular activities, social engagement, as well as the teacher approachability. I think since it's a new school, so it is too early to comment, but sir, my experience has been extremely good, sir.
Do you think of anything where you feel it could be slightly better, could have done better than what it is doing? Sanskriti school?
Sir, I think we can expand the school. Right now, when I was there initially, it was a small school. We only had 5 to 6 sections for each standard. So the school would grow bigger. I think we can focus more on academics. At times, there was slightly more focus on extracurricular activities and slightly less focus on academics. So maybe that is one aspect that can be tackled.
Who was the principal there when you were studying in that school?
Sir, Miss Gauri Ishwaran and Miss Ava Sehgal.
Ava Sehgal. All right. In Madhya Pradesh, what are the areas where you feel could be added in terms of economic development if you wish to do something more about Madhya Pradesh? What are the areas in which you can do more?
Sir, I think Madhya Pradesh has a lot of natural resources. However, these natural resources are not being effectively utilized. So we need a strong infrastructure in Madhya Pradesh, which means better road network, better electricity access, increased presence of financial institutions. Secondly, sir, I think the social parameters could be improved, which will help in leveraging the available labor, sir. So education and health could be improved, and this would improve quality of life as well as the economy of the state, sir.
In terms of agriculture, what are the main crops and what can be done to improve productivity and production of those crops?
Sir, as far as I am aware, Madhya Pradesh has had one of the highest agricultural growth rates. So the system at present is fine. The major crops we have cereals, so wheat and rice, as well as the oil seeds, so soya bean, groundnut, and mustard are grown, and pulses are grown, sir. These are the major crops that are grown, sir.
So nothing can be done to improve the productivity.
Sir, in terms of possible improvements, I think one increase in the area under irrigation, although it is picking up at a fast pace. Secondly, sir, a better farm gate logistic network so that farmers are able to get a higher share of the final price. Third, I think, sir, diversification can be increased because even today it is largely driven by the MSP. So it is focused around wheat and rice, sir.
What do you think about the farmers' agitation? What are the demands of the farmers? What are the reasons why this agitation is still going on?
Sir, Center had come out with 3 farm laws. Major contention or the major protests were around the second law, which was Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Bill, that it aimed to end the APMC mandis and allowed farmers to sell it anywhere. I think there were different reasons. One was that states contended that this is not in the legislative competence of center. Secondly, sir, farmers feared that if the APMC mandis go away, it will lead to corporatization and eventually they may be at the mercy of big corporates. Third, they also feared that this could lead to withdrawal of MSP, sir. That is why they are agitating.
So what can be done to diffuse it now? It is still going on. It's not good. What can be done?
I think, sir, center has already agreed to defer it by 18 months from what I remember. If it can also give in return, written that MSP will not be removed or the laws will not be enacted as long as there is no consensus, then that may help to diffuse the situation. But the main component would have to be direct engagement with farmer leaders, sir.
What are the main tourist spots or how can tourism be improved in Madhya Pradesh?
Sir, in terms of main tourist spots, right now we have some UNESCO heritage sites. So, for example, Bhimbetka, Sanchi, as well as Khajuraho. We have some natural parks, for example, Kanha, Bandhavgarh, Pench. We also have some religious sites like Ujjain, Omkareshwar. In terms of what can be done to improve the tourism, first is, sir, I would like to fix the basics. For example, if tourists face any security issues, in particular the women tourists. Secondly, the overall sanitation and cleanliness around tourist sites, because at times that may spoil the visual appeal of the tourist site. Third, sir, in terms of promoting tourist sites, I think we would have to run campaigns. For example, MP is already running the Magnificent MP campaign. So if it can have a wider reach, it may help attract more tourists. Finally, sir, I would like to say that increasing tourism is about selling an experience and not just a site. So even something as simple as the Chambal Sands can be sold as a tourist destination if done the right way, sir.
Good. You mentioned about Bhimbetka. Have you been there?
No, sir.
You haven't seen Bhimbetka. Have you heard about it? What is it about?
Sir, it's a cluster of caves dating to prehistoric times, sir.
What is there? Are there paintings? Are there excavations? What is it?
So there are two important things. One, it is the oldest rock cut caves. Second, it is home to a lot of prehistoric paintings that were made by natural colors available locally. And those paintings have been preserved even till date. So they are, as archaeologists say, the oldest evidence, one of the oldest evidence that is found in India, sir.
One of the oldest.
In terms of such sketches.
I think yesterday or day before, there was a news item that in Haryana, in Aravali Hills, also some rock paintings have been discovered. And the age of those paintings has been detected to be about 40,000 years, 40,000 to 10,000 years, which some of the archaeologists said could be even older than Bhimbetka. Have you read about it?
Sir, I remember reading, but I cannot recall the exact details. And yes, they did say that if correctly dated, it would be older than Bhimbetla, sir.
All right. When is your interview fixed?
Sir, 26th August.
26th August. Okay. Over to you, Neeraj ji.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning,
Arth,
sir.
you have studied at IIT Delhi, and we noticed that a large number of IITians, instead of pursuing their individual areas of specialization, are aspiring to be civil servants. This is a trend that we have been noticing for quite some time. Do you think for a country like ours, this is a positive trend?
Sir, I would say people moving into civil services is equally good because a lot of public money has been spent on these students. They have been trained well, and now this public money would help improve the public service delivery in districts. Secondly, sir, I do agree that we need good quality engineers because the example of Switzerland and Germany is often given that the quality of engineering is much better over there, despite the quantity being much lesser, sir.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted your opinion. Say any developing country or any developed country, have you seen this trend that trained engineers, after completing their education or their training, switch to the job of generalists?
Sir, I feel in our country, engineering acts as a platform and not just a specialized specialization. So after engineering, a lot of people go into MBA or civil services because that is the perception that if you're not sure about what we want to do in 10th grade, we can always do engineering and then decide later on. A lot of people do decide to stick to engineering only, sir.
No, but I want your opinion, your definite opinion on whether it is a positive trend or a not so desirable a trend.
Sir, it's not so desirable trend because ideally the IITs were created so that we could have more engineers and not more civil servants or bankers, sir. That was the goal.
Perhaps one of the reasons is that in the field of engineering, you do not get as fulfilling careers as in the civil service. And if we were able to create equally fulfilling services or job opportunities within the country, then perhaps this shift would not have been seen. Am I right?
Definitely, sir, that can be one aspect, sir.
That means our country has not been successful in creating that kind of developmental, ecosystem in which engineers are wanted and are given that kind of importance as they are in the civil services.
Sir, I think we have come a long way and we have definitely progressed because one of the parameters on which I say this is that a lot of people used to go out of India in early 2000s and early 90s. However, as per recent reports, majority of them are staying back and a lot of students are coming back to India. So I think the ecosystem has definitely improved, but sir, there is always scope for improvement.
All right. Debating is one of your hobbies and one of your passions, if I may say so. Now, it is said that politics is the art of the possible. Now, you have to speak for the motion first, and then you have to speak against the motion. Let's see how you do it.
So the motion being politics is the art of possible.
Art of the possible.
Art of the possible. Sir, I'll begin with for. So I would say that politics is the one occupation which gives you the power and authority to make changes, which is why we often say that it can make anything happen or it can make anything possible. There is a famous quote that a member of parliament in United Kingdom can do anything except turn a man into a woman and a woman into a man, which shows that how much power politics carries. And the directly related to power is the capability of change, which is why we say politics is the art of possible. In every field we see today, whether it is socio field or the economic field, politics can bring changes. We have brought people out of poverty. We have delivered good education system, which was otherwise considered impossible. We have sustained a universal adult franchise when no one thought we could do. So that is also something we made possible. We have, sir, should I shift to against now?
Yes, it's your choice. How much you want to speak?
Sir, now I'll shift to against. So
you imagine you are in a inter IIT competition. So I would urge you to speak with that kind of ardor.
Sir, I'll try, sir. About arguments why politics may not be the art of possible is that politics also has its own limitations. Politics is about taking everyone along, and we often face challenges, for example, in terms of coalition politics. One particular party may not be able to do anything. Secondly, sir, politics is about accommodating diversity and accommodating diverse opinions. So in a country, say, for example, as diverse as India, not every opinion can be accommodated, which often means that not every scheme or not every idea can be implemented. So there are always facts which say that not everything is possible in politics.
Well done. My last question to you is that your father is an IPS officer, yet you have given IPS as your second option. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Why not the first option?
I think, sir, it comes down to IS offering a much better diversity in terms of a career, sir. In police, although there is diversity now, there are a diverse range of crimes, but still in Indian administrative services, from agriculture department to health department to education department, the diversity is unparalleled. Another aspect which my father only suggested is that IS offers you the opportunity to be a part of policy making at the highest level, which even IPS does not.
Sorry, Neeraj-ji,
Yes,
what
sir.
was father posted in Delhi as when he was posted here? What was his posting in Delhi?
Sir, he was in the order. Initially, he was in Power Ministry. Then he was in Ministry of Social Justice. Then he was in MP Bhavan. Sir, he has had a non-IPS career mostly.
I see. So what was his posting in these ministries? CVO or what?
Sir, in Joint Secretary, I think Director Intelligence in MP Bhavan, sir.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
And presently he is transport commissioner. Is that a mainstream police job?
No, sir. In a lot of states, it is held by IS officers, sir. So it can't be
Yes.
considered a complete police job.
Yeah. So there you are. This notion that it does not. That is one. And the second point is that the world is moving towards specialization from generalization. From being generalists. The world over, people prefer specialists rather than generalists. So that is why it's a strange trend that first you train to be a mechanical engineer. From mechanical engineering, you are switching to civil services, and from civil services, instead of going into a specialized area, you are going into a further generalist area. But nonetheless, it is your choice. I think this is another area where you may be asked a few questions during your interview. So you should formulate your answers carefully. Anyhow, we'll talk about it in the feedback. Over to you, Rajiv ji.
Thank you, sir. Hello, Art.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Let's start with your place of birth, Jabalpur. Okay, a few questions on this. Where does it find its
sir,
name? I mean, the origin of its
sorry,
name?
Sir. Your
Can you
network
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, it's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah?
sir, it's okay.
Okay. So from where does the name Jabalpur draw its name?
Sir, it's named after the history. It's named after a Saint Jabali who used to meditate on the banks of Narmada River.
But does it also have an Arabic origin?
I am not sure of that, sir. I'll read up on
Not
this.
sure. Okay. It's okay. What are the GPS coordinates of Jabalpur?
So the latitude is around 23.4 degrees. It's just below Tropic of Cancer.
Yes, yes.
The longitude, I'm not sure, sir.
80 degrees.
Thank you, sir.
80. Okay. What are the mythologies associated with Jabalpur? I mean, some mythology as well as history, the ancient history. From where does it begin, the history of Jabalpur? Can you trace some important events or chronology of the history of Jabalpur?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of the ancient events related to Jabalpur.
That it has Ashokan relics associated with the Mauryan Empire. Does it strike some chord, or no? Shall we move on?
I was not aware, sir, it has Ashokan relics. It does have the marble rocks and all.
Yeah.
It does have Jain temples, but I did not know it had Buddhist sites.
Yes, it has also association with, after the Maurya, the Satavahans in 230 BC, then the Gupta Empire in 320, Kalachuri dynasty, finally the Battle of Sitabuldi with the East India Company. All this, just read through all this. Okay,
Sir, I'll read through.
now we'll go to some other. Are you aware of what the Santhara practice is?
Sir, it's a practice in Jainism where you fast unto death.
What are the are there any conditions attached to a person undergoing Santhara, or anybody can practice it?
Sir, as far as I am aware, anyone can practice. Earlier, there was a debate whether householders can practice or not, but based on what I read, anyone can practice.
Okay, we'll do that when we assess. The last part about Santhara, is there was it taken to the judicial, was there a judicial intervention on the Santhara practice?
So there was. It was taken up in Rajasthan High Court, but it was determined to be an essential practice, and judiciary does not interfere in essential practices.
Okay. Now, what are the difficulties that Britain is facing on Brexit?
Sir, at present, there is a lot of instability and uncertainty, because of which the investment regime may have been impacted. Second aspect I'm aware of is that the labor immigration laws have completely changed. So it is facing a shortage of labor in that sense. I'm not aware of more aspects, sir.
Okay. What are the, suppose you were to become the district magistrate, we just discussed, what are the areas which you would, and what are the methodologies through which a district magistrate can influence the, to overcome some difficulties in his district? What are the strategies he can adopt?
You will have to repeat the network.
I will repeat. What are the methodologies and the strategies with which a district magistrate can influence, or he can overcome difficulties the district is facing?
Difficulties related to, sir?
Any area, health, for instance, education, for instance, women, crime against women, anything.
Sir, I'll repeat the question. Please confirm. What are the various ways in a district magistrate can address difficulties in a particular area?
Yes.
Sir, as far as I am aware, district magistrates practically have authority in every department except every department coming under the district. So if any particular sector, say health, so he can increase the availability of doctors and paramedical staff. He can ensure that timely payment is done. He can ensure that medicine supplies and stocks are replenished. regularly, as well as if there is any malpractices happening, he can register a complaint and file it, sir, forward it.
But how would he address the vaccine hesitancy, for instance?
Sir, I feel that a vaccine hesitancy is a social problem. So any social problem would need outreach programs. So why people are hesitant, that has to be understood first. It might be, sir, from based on what I heard, that some people believed it had certain chemicals that could be harmful. Some people were not sure of the vaccine, the process through which the vaccine had been made. There were also, sir, religious aspects to it. So all of these rumors or misinformation sources would have to be individually addressed, as well as, sir, we would need role models. So for example, the local MLA as well as the DM himself, they can get vaccinated publicly in front of everyone. This would lead to increase in confidence among the people, sir.
Any areas that we have learned, I mean, some areas where we have drawn lessons in the vaccine. I will give you one particular instance I would like you to focus on. Have the government adopted some measures to, uh, to reduce their non-plan expenditure in the wake of the pandemic?
Oh, sorry, sir, I do not understand. I did not understand the question.
What are the non-plan expenditure subjects in the central government? Non-plan. On what do we spend on under the non-plan?
So the planning and non-planning expenditure used to be there when the planning commission was there. So anything that was not outlined in the 5-year plan would be considered a non-plan expenditure. So
Okay. In the parliamentary procedures, when is an assurance given to the parliament and by whom?
I am not sure, sir.
Okay. What are the determinants of our foreign policy? Determinants of foreign policy.
Sir, I think usually the determinants of foreign policy can be, one, history, that are different relations with different countries. Second, geography. So for example, if Afghanistan is close by, then Afghanistan becomes a very important critical concern. Third would be our economic standing, that is our, which would translate into our hard power as well as economic power. Fourth would be our soft power, sir.
Okay. What are the various practices, agricultural practices followed in this country? Just broad area-wise.
Sir,
For instance, I'll give you an example. Dry farming, for instance.
In that way, sir, dryland farming, as well as zero budget farming, organic farming, then mixed farming. I
Okay.
can give examples, sir. Organic farming is done in MP and Sikkim a lot. Mixed farming, for example, in Arunachal Pradesh, we have fish and rice being grown together. Zero budget farming became popular in Maharashtra and Karnataka.
Jhum cultivation.
Yes, sir. Slash and burn cultivation, for example, jhuming or podu, these are also popular.
You're also associated with Delhi. Just very brief questions on this. What do you think about the Central Vista project? I mean, it was also taken to a court of law, and some directions have come from the court. Do you think it should have been postponed, or we are right in our approach?
Sir, Central Vista project is about redevelopment of the Central Vista area in New Delhi, which includes all the critical institutions like the parliament as well as PM residence. Although there were controversies, sir, I believe that the government was right in going forward. There are reasons. For example, one, we would need an increased capacity in the parliament in coming years. Secondly, sir, it is said during pandemics or periods of crisis, expansionary fiscal policy or fiscal spending is actually one of the best ways to revive the economy. Third, sir, the existing parliament had its own concerns related to safety in terms of fire safety norms and earthquake norms. And fourth, sir, in the economic terms also, we were spending almost 1,000 to 2,000 crore rupees per year as a rent for office buildings. So because of these, I think reasons, I think government was correct in going forward with it.
My last question to you are, why can't Delhi be granted full statehood?
Sir, this issue has been taken up and Supreme Court said Delhi as the capital of the country is a special case. So it is neither a complete state nor a union territory in the traditional sense. The reason is that, sir, like internationally, capitals are always unique. They house the most critical institutions. For example, we have Supreme Court, we have Prime Minister's office, we have all the secretariat. So this cannot be given to completely to the state government. Secondly, we also have embassies. So because of the presence of these institutions, it will always have that special character and would necessitate federal control over it, sir.
Earth, this will be my last. What is the least pollutant in terms of vehicles? Which is the least pollutant vehicle?
Sir, you'll
Least
have
polluting
to,
vehicle.
least
Polluting vehicle. Yeah.
Sir, electric vehicles are the least polluting vehicles.
Why it has not taken off? Why the sale of electrical vehicles has not taken off?
So there are two aspects to it. On the consumer end, it is because of one, price. Second, the range. Usually they have half the range of normal vehicles. Third, the top speed. On the production end, sir, one is the logistics because electric vehicles are almost 500 kgs heavier. Second, charging infrastructure is not there in our country. And third, sir, battery would need lithium import. We do not have domestic supplies of lithium, sir. So because of these 6 reasons, electric vehicles have not completely taken off in India, sir.
Thank you, Earth. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rajiv ji. Earth, first of all, let me ask you, do you wish to ask us any questions, any of the panelists?
Sir, it's okay.
Okay. Now some feedback to you and maybe 1 or 2 questions. First of all, let me tell you, you have got a very pleasant personality and I was very pleased to meet you. You got the right background. I'm fairly confident that you will make it. In fact, I can predict almost with confidence that you are going to make it. And you have to improve in a few areas. When is your interview scheduled for?
Sir, 26th August.
26th August. So you still have more than a month.
Yes, sir.
Have you taken any mock interviews so far?
Sir, I've taken about 11, 12.
11, 12?
Yes, sir.
Have you been given any feedback?
Sir, one was that I need to improve on mechanical engineering, which I am. And secondly, they said because parents' background is so I'll be placed on a higher pedestal. And they said I'm not living up to it.
Well, you almost sort of anticipated what probably we would have also told you. You come from a background when your father is also a civil servant, when your mother is also a professional, when you have studied in Delhi in the midst of civil servants, ethos and so on. So expectations would be high, no doubt about it.
Yes, sir.
You need to work out a little more on some of the current affairs. For instance, some of the questions relating to Madhya Pradesh, some of the questions relating to the ethos there, the tourism spots, the details. Bit surprised that you haven't been to Bhimbetka, you are not fully familiar with details of some of the others. The agriculture produce, when you made a blanket statement, it's already doing very well, nothing more needs to be done. This was a very wrong statement. Madhya Pradesh has got a vast area, its wheat is famous, but a lot of measures can be taken for increasing productivity. The irrigation that you did mention, and the diversification of crops, and on the farmers' agitation, number of things. So you have to be very well prepared in those areas which can arise from your background of the state, background of your education. You have done from IIT mechanical engineering, so a lot of questions can arise from there. You must come out as a person who is confident, who knows his subject, and who is not trying to evade questions or hedge unnecessarily drag. They should be absolutely pointed, crisp answers as far as possible. Sit straight with confidence. Go with a tie if you can,
Yes.
and make sure that there are a few areas which are your strength, and try to deflect, if possible, through discussion, questions into those areas. So whichever are your areas which you have prepared very strongly, be useful for you to take the pen, the board into those areas if you can gently without making it obvious.
Yes.
So I'm very confident that you can make it. Neeraj, would you like to give him some feedback?
Sure, sir. Arth, as you already know, the expectations from you would be much higher than from some of
Yes.
the other candidates. So you have that, you can take it that that is a handicap that you have.
Yes.
And you are now, when I asked you to debate on the proposition that politics is the art of the possible, what I expected from you was a little more, what should I say, passion. And I even hinted that imagine you are in an inter-IIT competition. So I was expecting that you will be more enthused. You spoke well, but you continue to speak in the same monotone as you were answering other questions. So when I'm asking you and I'm saying that show some more ardor, certainly you could have brought in more
Yes.
passion. And so since you are a debater, any interviewer would expect you to your delivery to be far superior than most of the other candidates. Not that the substance was lacking, but the quality of the delivery you can improve. And
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sure when you were debating in IIT functions and debates, you were speaking with far more enthusiasm and far more passion than you did today. So once I given you the impetus to say that you debate as if you are debating in a inter-IIT competition, I expected you to get a little more charge.
Yes, I did not pick up on that hint. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that is one. The second thing is that even topics like whether this trend that IITians are coming into civil services in large numbers, whether it is a positive trend or a negative trend. First of all, you should be clear what your stand is, right? Now, you yourself are shifting from engineering to a civil service. So obviously, you have to argue in terms of that it is a positive trend. So you have to build up your arguments accordingly and put across those points very emphatically. I found you lacking there also. You were not clear. You were at one time saying, no, it is not that good. Now, if you feel in your heart of hearts that it is not a good trend, if that is your opinion, then you better stick to it. And you say that, well, yes, this is not so. This is not a good trend, not a positive trend. had our economy shown that kind of progress and that kind of, perhaps this trend would not have happened, as it has not happened elsewhere in the world. But yet at the end of the day, the ultimate beneficiary is the country, is the, our expertise goes into civil service, etc. So you please formulate. I'm not saying do this or do that. All I'm saying you is formulate your ideas and articulate them with a lot of clarity and a lot of emphasis.
Yes, sir. I'll work on this.
Yeah.
Yes,
So that is about all. I wish you all the best, because otherwise you are. There's no reason why you should not. Okay. The last question about, again, something where much can be said on either side about IPS and IAS. There again, you are very ambivalent. So again, you should think of a good answer and you should stick to that. Okay.
yes.
Just think
Thank
over
you,
it.
sir.
Yeah, formulate your answer, because this is a question that will be put to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Rajiv ji.
Thank you, sir. Earth, firstly, I'm glad that the 11 or 12 marks have not exhausted you. You are as enthusiastic as taking our questions. So, okay. Earth, see, on 2-3 areas, just small suggestions. Not that I would not say that your answers were wrong, but some by way of suggestion. For instance, the Arabic origin you can find in the name of Jabal, which means boulders, which are found in abundance. So it's just a way of balancing your one part of the answer that you gave, Jabali. Okay, then you mentioned Ujjain and Omkareshwar. So either you mentioned the two temples, Mahakaleshwar and the Omkareshwar, or you mentioned the two cities, Ujjain and either Indore or Maheshwar, I think wherever it
Okay.
corresponds to. I mean, it's
Yes,
just
sir.
fine tuning your answer. Otherwise, I don't say it was wrong, but just to fine tune. If you mentioned one of the 12 Jyotirlings in one place, then mention the other Jyotirling in the other place as well. Second, third, in the full statehood, I wish you had also given examples of Australia and Washington, just to add value to your. Then the third part of it is, in the parliamentary debate, an assurance is given by a union minister to the parliament when he does not readily have an answer to a question put by the member of parliament. So there are two ways. Either he says, I do not have the answer, I'll come back with this, or he gives an answer which in the mind, which to the according to the rules of the parliament are construed to be an assurance. For instance, if he says that this is being looked into and we will do this, that is taken as an assurance. So there are two methods by which an assurance is given, either to a start question or to an unstart question. There's a time limit fixed of 90 days within which he should come back with the answer or seek an extension. There's a committee on government assurances which sees whether the assurance given by the minister to the parliament has been fulfilled by his giving a subsequent reply.
Yes,
So these are, and to the on the Santhara, just to make some small corrections there. The Rajasthan High Court held it to be illegal under Section 309 of IPC, and again Article 21 of the Constitution also saying that you have a right to life, but you don't have a right to die. So
I will
therefore,
correct this, sir. Yes, sir.
and then the Supreme Court, however, intervened and they said it is not a. They state the judgment of the High Court. And finally, the conditions that are available to a person undergoing Santhara are old age. So not anybody can do this. Old age, of course, not defined, but old age. Then he requires the permission of the family members to undergo a Santhara. You can't go against the wishes of the family. And lastly, when the body functions have stopped. So that is one scientific way of deciding as to who can undergo a Santhara. Body function should stop. Your answers were very good, Art. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed, and all the best.
Thank you.
Don't undergo any more mocks. I think this was you've reached a level of satisfaction too. Okay.
Yes.
All the best. All the best, Art.
Thank you, sir. Sir, should I leave now?
Yes, sir. So all the best. Thanks a lot. Wish you all the best. Hope to see your name in the list of successful candidates and very high.
Yes, sir.
Take
Thank
care.
you, sir.
Bye.
All the best. May
Thank
God
you.
bless
Best, Arth.
Bye.
All the best.